Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another GTA 6 video. My name is Saintsfan, and I think at least one of the more fun questions a lot of us have about GTA 6 is if it will have big weather events like hurricanes. The reason I think that's so fun is because having a hurricane in a game can really just lead to so many cool scenarios. So many different scenarios than you would normally get into. And in this video, I want to go over some stuff from trailer 2, but I also want to dive into some previous Rockstar stuff and explain why I actually do think that we will be getting hurricanes in some way in GTA 6. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, look, obviously what you're seeing, if you can read the sign, this is from trailer 2. This was a scene, obviously in the background, you can see Jason and Lucy, they're celebrating, but on the wall there's a sign that says Hurricane Roxy was this strong. And presumably, I'm assuming they're referencing like the floodwater. Usually that's how these things go. If they also are on the Key West area, then that also makes sense. That's literally in the water. So if there was a hurricane, the water would be, relatively high. So right off the bat in trailer 2, we're already seeing hurricane references, but does that mean we're going to get them in game? No, not necessarily, but I did want to point that out first, just because everything Rockstar does is very particular. So I'm sure having this particular thing being shown in this scene was something that Rockstar wanted us to notice. Now, also in trailer 2, it's a very minor thing, but I believe this is in trailer 2, or maybe it's in one of the screenshots. Either way, though, you can see these palm trees that are actually staked down. Now, first off, yes, this could just be how some of the palm trees are. This also does not indicate stuff, but we're adding it all up, and maybe at the end you'll think, all right, this is a little bit more believable. But we do have the palm trees staked up, which usually only happens when there are going to be strong winds, such as hurricanes. And if the world is as dynamic as we're seeing it in, trailer 2 and in some of the leaks and in trailer 1 and some other rumors and stuff and patents that we've seen, Rockstar want this game to be very, very dynamic. Well, it would make sense if they're going that route that these trees will only get these stakes if there was going to be some sort of big hurricane or big wind event, coming through. And then in one of the screenshots, very conveniently, by the way, again, in shot here, the flood gauge sign. Yet again, Rockstar particular with this stuff. Like, why are they adding that there if they're not trying to tease something, right? So imagine a flood in game. It hopefully wouldn't happen too often. That actually raises the water level to that sign. And then you actually have way more areas to kayak, which would be really cool. And then on top of that, with the flooding, at least, if anyone remembers back from trailer 1, there was this scene at the top left. It's hard to tell what that exactly is, but it does appear to be water with palm trees coming out. Now, palm trees do not grow in water, so we all are speculating that that is indicating some sort of flooding in that area as well. Now, that's most of the stuff from trailer 2, but I did want to dive deeper into this, and I actually made a video on this topic that I never released a couple of weeks ago before trailer 2, so a lot of it isn't necessarily relevant, but there were a few points that I wanted to cut out of that video and just put it into this video because some of these things are very, very interesting when it comes to this hurricane topic. And the first one was also from trailer 1, so this is what I had to say. And now this is from the scene where they had the news covering the dirt bags, you can read. But look at the bottom there where the arrow is conveniently pointed. Leonida man sucked up in water spout demands the city buy him a new suit. Now, okay, yes, that could just be a one-off little headline on the news, but given how realistic they want this game to be and how realistic they're showing it to be, especially with the NPCs recording stuff and doing stuff, and from what we've seen in some of the leaks, it's not crazy to think that you will actually be able to see a NPC in this game get sucked up by a water spout, which of course would mean you would have to see a water spout. Now, I'm not a meteorologist, but I do believe that water spouts aren't nearly as deadly or as hardcore as a tornado, so they don't cause as much damage as a tornado. So something like a water spout in GTA 6, I don't think that would be that hard to code into the game. It's not going to be affecting a whole bunch. Again, usually they're over the water. That's why they call them water spouts. So they're not going to be interacting with the environment too much. So right there, I mean, I think we're already going to be getting some sort of water spouts in this game. Again, they're not going to do anything major, but it'll just be cool to see every now and then in the weather cycle. And then we also dove into some previous Rockstar titles. We'll start with the original Vice City game. If anyone remembers that game, the start of it, you were actually landlocked or island locked to the first island because of a hurricane. That was the story reason why you couldn't cross any of the bridges and why you were limited to, you know, that first part of the island for the first part of the story. Now, we've seen in the artwork for GTA 6 that Lucy has a little ankle monitor. So if Rockstar did want to landlock us or, you know, island lock us, whatever, in GTA 6, that's the route they would more likely go, with some sort of ankle monitor system and not a hurricane again, like from the OG Vice City. But it is interesting how in the OG Vice City, they did have hurricanes mentioned in a pretty big way in that game. Obviously, back then it was, you know, what, 2003, 2004. The technology just wasn't there to make an actual hurricane in the game, but we do have that technology now. And even GTA 5, man, I'll just quickly go through this one. But if anyone remembers this website on the in-game internet, you can go to it, you can click this button, you know, click to become God or something. And then you get this little scene or the screen that says tsunami kills 200,000 people. It's wiped out the city. Obviously that can't happen, and that didn't happen in GTA 5, like in the game. But it shows that maybe the developers at least were thinking of some sort of natural disaster that could wipe out the map or a part of the map that would provide, you know, new, different gameplay. And then we can even jump to RDR2, the most recent game, where there's some very, very, very cool stuff and interesting stuff happening in that game that really makes me believe they're going to translate that stuff into GTA 6. But did you know that in RDR2, there are actual big old sandstorms that happen in the game? Obviously, they don't happen everywhere. I think it is only limited to like the RDR1 portion of the map over in the Armadillo area. But yeah, here's a couple of clips of that, and it is really cool. I have played quite a bunch of RDR2 and I have never actually seen this. So learning about this was actually really cool, because imagine this, but instead of it being a dust storm, you know, it's a hurricane, or it's hurricane-esque weather. Visibility in here is very, very low. I don't know if it affects like NPCs or anything. I'm not sure how that would work. Probably not in RDR2, because again, that's maybe a little bit more advanced. Like, I'm sure if an NPC wanted to snipe you, they could still see you from a mile away or something, because that's usually how games go. But seeing these effects, that is such a one-off thing in RDR2, it is really one of the big reasons why I think we're going to be getting some big weather event in GTA 6. Because if Rockstar did this back in RDR2, again, and what, 8-year-old game at this point, this game came out in 2018, it was being worked on in 2016, 2017. Imagine all the technology advancements since then. Like, if they pulled off this back then, we really can only imagine what they're going to be pulling off in 2025 with GTA 6. But even just some of the other weather effects from this game are amazing. Just taking a look at some of these other clips here. This is a little thunderstorm, and it's nothing major. You know, obviously if this was a hurricane, it would be a lot windier. You would see stuff flying around probably, but this just goes to show the weather effects from that RDR2 game 8 years ago. The weather is going to be even better in GTA 6 because of all the advancements in the hardware and technology. And here we have just a little time lapse of the weather, just like in a normal day in RDR2. And it does look pretty awesome. So again, I've seen some people say that GTA 6 isn't going to have anything big weather related because it just doesn't make sense for Rockstar. But like we're just seeing here with RDR2, they've already worked on this stuff, and I'm sure they want to improve on this RDR2 stuff and make it even better. I think more than likely what will end up happening in GTA 6 is that hurricanes, they won't be a part of the normal weather cycle. Like, I don't think we're going to get random hurricanes appearing every now and then. Number one, the hurricanes are just not that frequent. If we do actually just ask Google, you know, how often do hurricanes hit Miami? They really only hit every 6 to 8 years. That's in the, you know, the metropolitan area. So it's not like every year they're getting hit with a hurricane. So hurricanes aren't that often to hit Miami. They also probably wouldn't just be a random part of the cycle because it would be sort of annoying if they did happen too often. Like having a hurricane happen, I think would be a cool special 1 or 2 off event, but having them happen every now and then and at a frequent pace, I just don't think makes a whole lot of sense for the game. And also major hurricanes cause, you know, flooding, a bunch of damage and stuff like that. I don't think people would want to deal with, again, if they were a frequent thing. So more than likely, if we do get hurricanes in this game, it will be a somewhat scripted event in single player. And honestly, this is the route I think and I hope they will end up going, because it allows for just some really, really cool stuff. Like imagine there was a section of the game where you, Jason and Lucia are, you know, doing a heist, or you're preparing for a heist, and you time it when a hurricane comes through. Like that's part of the story. That's part of the script. And that is how you end up getting away. You use the hurricane as cover or something to get away. Just imagine the gameplay sequences in an event like that. If there was, you know, street flooding, imagine driving jet skis or boats down regular streets, but because they're flooded, you can drive a boat or a jet ski. Imagine flying if it wasn't like a crazy big powerful hurricane. Imagine flying through a hurricane, dealing with all of that. Like that would be really cool and really fun and really exhilarating. I think that's just the most likely scenario we see in GTA 6, because again, with RDR2, they definitely improved the weather from GTA 5. So I think we're going to get another big jump from RDR2 to GTA 6. But I don't think we're going to get hurricanes as part of like the random weather. I think it just makes a lot more sense if it was a big scripted event. And then for online, you could also have a giant GTA Online event around a hurricane hitting. Similar, honestly, to how GTA 5 has the snow every Christmas. Imagine every now and then you get a giant hurricane hitting and then it affects the city, affects the world. Like that would just be really cool. It would be something unique to the game. I will say, if they were like on the off chance they were going to add hurricanes to the normal weather cycle and you do get them, you know, randomly like the dust storms in RDR2, it would have to be a smaller hurricane or like a tropical storm. You're not going to get a category 5 hurricane as a thing in GTA 6, because again, it just doesn't make sense from a game dev standpoint, because they would have to code so many extra things to deal with that. But if you did have a little minor hurricane that maybe doesn't flood the whole city, but maybe it floods the beach a bit, so the water is a little bit, you know, further inland. Maybe you have, you know, some strong wind effects, so you see stuff flying around, you see branches flying around, you see trash, you know, and stuff flying around. I think this was made in Unreal Engine 5. Is just like a little, you know, clip here, but this is what a category 5-esque hurricane looks like, right? You're not going to get anything like that in GTA 6, even though the text there is hoping to get something like that in the game. It's just, it's too much dev time into something that only would happen, you know, a handful of times. But if they had a little smaller scale hurricane, that wouldn't be so bad. Maybe it could even cause power outages, which could also help, you know, you steal stuff because there's no cameras or something like that to catch you. So those are my thoughts on hurricanes in GTA 6. I do actually think we have a pretty realistic chance at getting them in the game in some way, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy, subscribe for more GTA 6 content, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.